Welcome to the Pure Performance Cafe. May I take your order?
Yes, I would like a shot of Pure Performance, please.
Coming right up. Hello and welcome to another episode of Pure Performance Cafe. My name is Brian Wilson, and today with me I have a special guest, Henrik Ruxid from Neotis. Henrik, you asked to be on the show, and I had no idea why. And then when I looked into it, I thought it was awesome. So I wanted to definitely have you come on here to talk about this. And I can talk about this in whatever way, shape, or form, but I think it might be better if it's coming from you. So why don't you tell us why you're here, or we'll start with who you are, give us a little background about yourself, and then go ahead and tell us about what you wanted to talk about today.
All right. So first, thanks. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to the podcast. So my name is Henrik Ruxid. I am the partner solution evangelist for Neotis, which is the software vendor for NeoLoad, a load testing solution. And I've been last year focused on organizing one event called the PAC. So PAC is a Performance Advisory Council. So this event we organized last year in November, where we had the chance to have 15 experts from different geos, and we invited them in a Scottish castle nearby in Edinburgh. So for those who likes whiskey, ghosts, that was the event to come. I
would have loved to have been to that one. I wish I could have gone to that one so bad, especially when you mentioned the whiskey.
That was it was really good, in fact, by the way. But yeah, the event was with a physical PAC. The first event was quite new for us, organizing an event. We wanted to turn that event to more independent. Even if we are a software vendor, we don't want to push our product or do marketing activities about it. So we were more about, okay, let's think about what's going to be the future of performance engineer by including topics such as AI, blockchain, of course DevOps is one of them, but all those keywords or technology that will change the way we are currently delivering or working in the performance engineering. So I thought that the first event was quite good in that sense, where we were able to discuss about problems and the future of our job, in fact.
Right, and that's always a big concern for everybody out there, right? Because as things get more and more automated, and as teams start combining more, the question is, well, if I'm a traditional, like I go back, I started load testing in about 2002, right? So if I'm looking at from that point of view, there's always the question of, well, how do I survive in today's world? How do I level up, right? And I think that's where these kind of things are important, talking about what that future might be, how to get there. So I guess that's kind of...
And also, there is so many interesting technologies coming in. I mean, Dynatrace with the new platform, you open a lot of ideas and options for performance engineers. So I think it's important that we share that to the between us and with the community, so people is aware of practices and things that they can take advantage to save their job, I would say.
Right, exactly. So that then brings you to, well, so you're going to probably, and we talked before, you're going to probably have another on-site Performance Advisory Council. Yeah,
so we want to do a second edition of that format. So the format is a few speakers. We're not expecting attendees in that event. It's more about similar to the Whopper, where we bring experts, we present, we exchange, we discuss. So we're going to replicate that event probably in January, and we have, I think, identified the location as we speak. So it's going to probably, if people like skiing and snow, they will be quite happy to be part of the PAC.
Well, hopefully there'll be another type of whiskey in that area as well to make it, to keep going. Let's go on.
So that's on our way. We didn't start the organization, but we started sort of the biggest the location, the dates, and so on. But we wanted to also have, instead of waiting 1 year to have that second edition, we thought that, okay, let's make another format of the Performance Advisory Council, but on a web format, which is a web conference, fully virtual.
Okay.
I think the web conference is quite exciting in a sense where anyone can attend. So here, in a difference with a traditional PAC format, you will have attendees. So it's much more smarter to share things between our community. So I think that's the web format is the best, for us.
Right.
And the other thing is we didn't want to replicate the objective or the spirit of the PAC, where we discuss exchange and then we build content. Here it's going to be more related to a traditional web conference where you will present things and people can interact with the speakers through Q&A sessions, and there will be moderator. The difference that we want to bring in that conference is everyone from Australia, New Zealand, India, Europe, whatever it is, the locations, and every time you work on a project, you're probably implementing really interesting framework or techniques or tips that you're using for your performance practice. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really interesting when you discuss with performance engineers, you discover, okay, that's really clever the way you're doing this, or you're handling this approach. So the idea of the Performance Advisory Council is about having those experts sharing tips and tricks about their daily job or sharing experience about a project and how they have been able to handle that challenge. And I think that's I'm quite happy about it because it's a way to learn a lot of things. So it's more it's going to be more technical, more for performance engineers to get new ideas, new spirits. Mm-hmm. So that's the idea basically with the virtual PAC.
And I think what you say was interesting there, because as we know from a development point of view, from architecture point of view, most of the bigger name conferences that go on, they rarely even have a performance track, right? Sometimes they'll have a little bit one. It might be from a code performance point of view. Obviously, there's a lot of different aspects to performance, but from the point of view of performance that we're talking about here, there's not too much out there. I think there's like STPCon, right? There might be a few other things going on. Ministry of Testing has some events, and it's great to have another one because, especially focused, there's a lot of different kinds of testing as well, whether it's functional QA testing, performance, and this is all about performance. That's what my background is, so that makes me really exciting. I'm also seeing two other things that are exciting about this, right, is that, as you mentioned, it's all going to be virtual, so now you don't have to go to your superiors, or let's not call them superiors. You don't have to go to your bosses and say, hey, can I take and travel and get the company to pay for me to stay at a hotel in some place where you're going to trust me to go to this conference instead of go running off and sitting on a beach or running in the casino or whatever. So number one, it gives it makes it a lot easier to put some time aside to take care of to do this. It looks, and we'll address the 24-hour aspect of it in a second. But the other big point I want to mention right now is it's also I think the point of entry from the cost point of view is really easy to get over. Can you tell us how much you're going to have to request from your company to attend this phenomenal event?
So if you want to be part of the event, the only thing you need is a browser and an internet connection. There is no subscription fees. It's totally free. So the idea is to bring as much performance engineers as possible, and that all those people can attend and follow at their own pace. If you want to follow experts from your location, you can just connect at the most convenient time of your time zone, in fact. So that's the idea.
Right, and you were mentioning the time zone because this is running 24 hours, I believe, starting in New Zealand, right? And it's going to follow the sun. And you're going to pull a marathon. You're going to pull a bit of a marathon staying up bit here, aren't you?
Yeah. So I was wondering if you could probably be sponsored by Red Bull or any energy drink in this, or even Starbucks coffee. I don't know. Yeah. The idea is going to start at 5 a.m. our time, with covering the experts from New Zealand, and then we're going to follow the sun. So after that, we will go cover Australia, India, China, and then we're going to move on to MEA with a couple of experts from France, from Belgium, Switzerland, and then we're going to move on to the US. So we cover US from east to the west coast. So basically for us as a moderator, it's going to be 24 hours moderating, so from 5 a.m. to 5 a.m. the next day.
On June 6th, starting June 6th.
On June 6th,
yeah.
yes.
I don't think we've mentioned the date yet, so June 6th, mark it on your calendars. Cancel all your meetings because you want to watch all these. And they will be available at some point in the future afterward, right? I think they're going to be up somewhere, maybe on some of the speakers' own blogs or some other blogs put up by you guys. Maybe not immediately, but very soon after the event, people will be able to see the ones they missed.
Yeah, that's the idea. So first, all the presentations are recorded. So we would, after the live event, we were, I'm sorry, we will first rest or sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we're going to prepare the videos and share that to the attendees. But every speaker, we are requesting them to sort of build a blog post related to their talk. Okay. So even if you don't like the video format and you prefer just to read a text format of the presentation, you will also be able to follow that through our blog.
You have quite an array, quite a diverse background of speakers coming from across the globe. Any particular ones you wanted to mention to tease people into maybe joining the conference?
I mean, of course. I mean, if you look at the speaker lists, I mean, if you're familiar with the performance world, you will see a lot of known faces or name. Mm-hmm. I think there is a lot of interesting talks. I think Stephen, the first speaker from starting at 5 p.m. New Zealand time, 5 a.m. my time, is
and what is your time? Just so people know, that's France time, right? French time.
Yeah, French time. Yeah.
And that's a whole different time zone on its own. I'm kidding.
Everything is either blocked by strikes, either very slow. So yeah, we're going to start with Stephen first, Toshan. So he's going to talk about the art of log analysis. I mean, we used to look at logs before, and now this is for some reason disappearing because we don't have either the time or we forget about it. So I think it's going to be relevant to take advantage of logs again. Mm-hmm. I know that Dynatrace has added that in the platform, so that could be.
And that was at the request of the developers actually, because they were using it, right? So it's funny you mentioned that. Not to go off on a tangent, but we weren't doing logs at the time, and we were using our own tool, and the developers came back and said, "No, we still need logs." So that we built it into that. That's the reason we have it. But it's because, yes, it's being forgotten about, but there's still very many great use cases. So I think it's going to be awesome to hear Stephen's take on it from the performance point of view, for sure.
Yep. I think there's another one. I mean, I'm not going to go to every speakers. Mark is going to do a presentation that is already delivered. He's going to customize it a little bit. But I think it's, I really always love Mark's presentation. So it's going to be about cognitive based for performance. So I think it's going to be helpful to learn about his talk. I think there's another one that is really, I like Stain Shepard is a really expert. He's been working in the industry since many years. And he's a big Tableau fan. So he's going to show us and explain that we should not work anymore with the average. It's going to be dangerous, and how to gather all of those metrics from a load testing solution and be able to analyze this from Tableau, for example. It's a BI tool. So it's going to be really helpful to listen to his presentation. And I think the last presenter will be Zach Cole. So if you have not heard about him, Zach is he's working for whiteblock.io. He's providing a solution to test realistically blockchain. I think it's a really great idea and great product in a sense when you're dealing with blockchain. and I think he's going to talk about blockchain. So it's not going to be a talk about what is blockchain in general and be very very general in the presentation. He's going to go to deep dive, and he's going to take an example with Ethereum. So for those who's familiar with the technology, you will learn a lot of great things. And I think with mentioning blockchain, today there is a couple of, it's a new thing, so a lot of things is missing. I mean, people is talking about transaction per seconds, but I'm pretty sure that the word transaction per seconds in blockchain can change from one project to another. So I think it's missing. A lot of standards are missing yet still there in this new technology, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely think blockchain is a confusing and whole new place. So that's a really interesting one. Another one that I just was looking at too that I wanted to point out because I think it's a forgotten piece of testing. Srivali Aparna is doing one on database, making sure you're testing your database right. And and before I joined Dynatrace, I can say from my own personal experience, paying attention to the database was always kind of like, well, I can't do anything about that. That's the DBAs, right? But I think it's very, very important. So that's another one I'm really interested in checking out because it's. I think performance engineering needs a really fresh perspective on how to test the database and make sure you're running on an accurate model of your database. Right, but
yeah, and I think there is also it's a good point. In fact, that's true. I mean, and except of I think Wilson Moore decided to present something really interesting, and I think it's going to save a lot of project. I mean, who has been struggled to install the environment to get, I don't know, I need that product and this product and this product to analyze or to make my load generator ready or whatever is behind. I mean, people is using heavily sometimes Docker containers, but sometimes in certain environments, in certain contexts, Docker cannot be used. So he came up to an approach. So he's using, I don't know if you're familiar with the Brew in Mac OS or Chocolate for Windows. So he makes some couple of approach where he's able to deploy in a few seconds a developer laptop with all the products, and I think it's quite interesting. I mean, I know that I've been facing those challenges in other project, and I'm quite interesting to hear his talk and how he came up to that solution.
That is an interesting one, yeah, for sure. All right. Anything else before we wrap up? So it's going to be June 6th. It's going to be starting at 5 a.m. CEST, or was that Central European? No, it's not Central European. What's CE stand for? I don't.
It's Central, yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay. So 5 a.m. France time, we'll call it, because why not? So June 6th, free to sign up. So if you go to, we'll mention it. So if you go to neotis.com/performance-advisory council, or if you just search for, I think I just searched for Neotis Performance Advisory Council, and it came up pretty quickly, right in one of the top hits on Google. You're going to have some social media. Is there going to be a certain hashtag or Twitter thing to be following, to be looking out for user?
Yeah, sure. It's already there. So it's hashtag NeotisPack, and we made a joke last time with the pack and the fact that all those members are Pac-Man. Mm-hmm. So hashtag Pac-Man or hashtag NeotisPack, and you can follow the different news related to the event.
Okay, I do like the logo, the little kind of neon sort of look with it, with the Pac-Man shape. That's a really cool one. All right, anything else before we wrap up, Henrik?
Only thing is, like you mentioned, don't forget it to register. It's free. Take advantage of that. And just stay tuned on the LinkedIn or Twitter. We will post news, and all the speakers will promote their talk. And you can go to our neotis.com/performance-advisory console, and you can see the agenda. So if you want to book your time and be able to follow one specific talk, you can get the exact time of that talk from this website. And
I would be remiss if I didn't mention just before we leave that Thomas Steinmauer from Dynatrace is going to be presenting a talk that he co-created with Andy Grabner. So check that one out too. But I didn't want to. As you don't want to be pushing Neotis too much. I didn't want to push Dynatrace too much, but we do have some representation there talking about how we're running very heavy load tests against massive systems. I believe that's about what it is. But
maybe something I didn't mention, and you make the point, is the event itself is not about promoting Neotis products or solutions or approaches. Here we want to keep it as independent as much as possible. So there won't be anything about Neotis. I mean, we won't push it. So that's the idea. So don't be afraid of having another commercial or marketing event. It's not the idea.
Yeah, and if you don't believe him, go look at the description of Wilson Mars, because he mentions JMeter right there and then. I was like, oh, okay. So it's completely agnostic. It's open. It's just for learning and great fun. So hopefully everyone will sign up who's listening, and we'll try to catch up after the event, and you could let us know some of the wonderful things you've learned and some of the things for people to check out from it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd be more than pleased. I think we could definitely ask Thomas to be here, so he could share his experience, and I can make a sort of summary of the agenda, what happened during the day, how many energy drinks I've been drinking during the day.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. Great having you on the show. Thank you, Henrik.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks everybody for listening. Bye-bye.